Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going to unlock an absolutely massive math superpower. If you're tackling class 6 or 7 mathematics, or honestly, even if you just want a much faster way to process numbers in your daily life, this is exactly what you need. We're about to completely change how you see, translate, and understand everyday numbers. We're throwing out those complex formulas and replacing them with simple, visual logic. So let's kick things off with a super simple mental exercise. Imagine you have 3 chocolates sitting right in front of you on a table. Now you reach out, grab one, and eat it. If someone walks in and asks you how many chocolates you just ate, how would you describe it to them without overthinking the math? I bet you instantly thought, well, I ate 1 out of 3. Or maybe you just went straight to the fraction, 1/3. And you'd be absolutely correct. Notice how intuitive that is? Thinking about one piece out of 3 total pieces is immediate and super easy for your brain to process. But check this out. Did you know that saying you ate a ratio of 1 to 2 remaining, or saying you consumed 33.3% of the chocolates, is literally the exact same information? Yep, it's just spoken in a different mathematical language. And that brings us to the big idea we're unlocking today. You see, fractions, ratios, and percentages are almost always taught as these totally disconnected chapters, complete with completely different formulas you just have to memorize. But they aren't unrelated at all. They are simply 3 different languages translating the exact same story. Think of them as a single comparison meter, just formatted in 3 different ways. All right, let's jump into section 1, visualizing everyday examples. To really nail these translations, we've got to stop thinking about abstract numbers on a page and actually fire up our mental comparison meter. Let's look at an everyday situation, starting with pretty much everyone's favorite example, a pizza. Suppose you have a large pizza cut into 8 equal slices, and you're hungry, like really hungry, so you eat 2 of them. In fraction language, that's 2/8 of the pizza. Simplify that down, and it's exactly 1/4. Basically, you're just asking how much out of the whole. Now, here's where it gets cool. Look at how easily we can translate that fraction. In ratio language, comparing the eaten slices to the total gives us a 1-to-4 ratio. And in percentage language, which always asks, out of every 100, well, you just ate exactly 25% of the pizza. It's one reality, just 3 totally different ways to talk about it. Okay, let's switch gears and look at a typical classroom to see how this builds. Imagine a class with 40 students in total. In this specific class, exactly 20 are girls and 20 are boys. This right here, this brilliantly illustrates one of the biggest traps in middle school math, a confusion we need to clear up right now. Notice the difference in the comparison. Ratios often compare part to part, like comparing the 20 girls directly to the 20 boys, giving us a ratio of 20-to-20, or 1-to-1. But fractions almost always compare part to whole, like taking the 20 girls against the entire classroom of 40 students, which gives us 20/40ths, or simply a half. Same exact classroom, entirely different ways of comparing the groups. Once you lock this concept in, it literally applies to everything. Whether it's a cricket star like Virat scoring exactly half of his team's total runs, or a water bottle being filled exactly halfway to the top, your mental comparison meter always reads the exact same thing. 1/2 in fraction language, 1-to-2 in ratio language, or 50% in percentage language. Moving right along to section 2, the magic conversion table. Okay, now that we can see that underlying connection, I'm going to give you an absolute cheat code for math superpowers. This magic conversion table is basically your Rosetta Stone. By visually memorizing these common conversions, your calculation speed is going to skyrocket. Notice the patterns here. If 1/5 is 20%, then 2/5 is simply double that, 40%, 3/5, 60%. Visually absorbing these relationships is way faster, and honestly far more powerful than mechanically calculating them on paper every single time. Let's put this into practice in section 3, real-world math superpowers. So let's take these conversions out into the real world and see how mentally translating these languages makes solving everyday problems feel incredibly effortless. Next time you're out shopping and you see a massive 40% discount, or you glance down at your phone and notice the battery is sitting at exactly 75%, just remember your quick visual tricks. 50% is always a half, 25% is a quarter, and 75% is just 3/4. And hey, for those smaller, trickier slices of the pie, use this brilliant shortcut. Finding 10% of any number, all you do is move the decimal point 1 place to the left. Need 1%? Just move it 2 places. And if you need 5%, whatever you do, don't multiply. Just find 10% by moving the decimal and chop that number right in half. It is so much easier. All right, time for a Section 4 Fun Challenge Speed Round. Let's dive into a quick challenge to really test these mental math tricks step by step. And hey, put those calculators away. We're going to do this using only the translation skills we just learned. First up, if a problem asks you to find 50% of 600, don't even think about using a formula. You instantly know that 50% translates to half, and half of 600 is just 300. Boom. You completely bypassed the percentage formula and got the answer in seconds. Next up, what if you need 25% of 80? Again, let's translate it. 25% is the language of percentages, but in the language of fractions, it's just a quarter. A quarter of 80, which is just 80 divided by 4 is 20. Look at that. You've just effortlessly calculated 25% entirely in your head. Okay, let's try one more. Say your favorite sports team wins 3 out of their 5 matches, or maybe you score a 30 out of 50 on a test, which simplifies down to 3 out of 5. What's your percentage? Well, you definitely don't need to multiply by 100 and divide. Your mental magic table tells you instantly. Since 1/5 is 20%, 3/5 has got to be 60%. Which brings us to Section 5, 3 questions to remember. By visualizing these connections instead of just memorizing isolated rules, you are giving yourself a huge advantage. You can confidently solve most Class 6 and 7 math problems just by pausing and asking yourself 3 simple questions whenever you encounter a tricky number. Ask, how much of the whole is this, if you're dealing with fractions? If it's a ratio, ask, what exact parts are being compared to what? And if you see a percentage sign, just remember it simply means how many out of every 100. Master these 3 questions, and you completely master the languages of math. So, knowing that ratios, fractions, and percentages are literally just 3 different outfits worn by the exact same mathematical story, well, that completely changes how you interact with data, doesn't it? As you go about your day-to-day, checking phone batteries, hunting for store discounts, or looking at sports stats, how are you going to use this newfound superpower to translate the numbers you see in the real world? Keep that comparison meter running in your head, and I promise you, you will never look at math the same way again.